Time to take down the walls, live up to the creed, make a home for the brave and a land of the free. The American dream on the Statue of Liberty offers sanctuary to refugees. Gotta close the camps, gotta shut them down, gotta save those babies from the battleground. And the current is strong, an icy Arctic flow, but we can save one another from the undertow. And so we grieve for those we've lost. It's a precious verse in a mother's song. And so we rise like a summer storm to make a cradle for the yet unborn. Gotta close the camps, release the refugees, open up those cages, throw away the keys.
Buzz, 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 oh golly gee. Buzz, 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 oh my, oh me. Buzz, 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 it was a catastrophe when the bumblebee invaded the nudist colony. Oh, big Sister Maisie was laying in the grass when the bumblebee came along and stung her on a buzz, 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 oh golly gee. Buzz, 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 oh my, oh me. Buzz, 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 it was a catastrophe when the bumblebee invaded the nudist colony. Oh, there was Sister Jane. She finally found a place to sit when the bumblebee came along and stung her on a buzz, 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 oh golly gee. Buzz, 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 oh my, oh me. A buzz, 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 it was a catastrophe when the bumblebee invaded the nudist colony. That's the only folk song I know. I'm sorry. That's the best I could do. That's a tribute to you, my brother Carl. You know, and then Carl was talking about those 7 words, and he was saying, you know, there's these 7 words, you know, and America says you can't say these 7 words. Personally, I don't care what America says that you could say. But in my house, there were certain words that you were not permitted to use. And I remember when this rap and hip-hop stuff first started, you know, and my son came up to me and he was like, yo, Pops, Pops. I don't know why in those days the young men had to hold on to their package when they spoke. But he was like, yo, Pops, Pops, you got to hear this. You got to listen to this. I said, what are you talking about? He said, oh, man, you got to hear this song. This is Tupac, man. You know, you got to hear this. I was like, son, you know, I don't allow certain words in my house. So, you know, like, if those words are in the song, then they can't be in my house. He said, but Pop, this is rap. This is R.A.P. This is revolutionary African poetry. I said, yeah, but in my house, we don't say bitch, motherfucker, hoe, shit, or nigga. He was like, Pops, it's revolutionary African poetry. It's rap. I was like, yo, son, you know, when I was your age, rap was spelled W-R-A-P. And rap was the mechanism that the brothers used to capture the women in the charms, you know, the eloquence of their charm. I said, how do you think I caught your mama? See, I was standing on the corner of Dewey Square having made some arrangements to meet my partners there. I was high and flying, rapping very bold when along came my man, Big Money Van, his gold interior Rolls Royce car. As Van came up to take my hand from the corner of my eye, I did spy, moving with a sexy stride, this bold cold mama. She was pretty and trim, believe me, Jim. She knew she was looking fine. With a smile on my lips and a song in my heart, I knew that I'd make her mine. Say, fella, said D, I'm glad we met. She said, how's about a bite to eat? So we all agreed on some boss feed at Zerkoff's down the street. Now, Zerkoff's was for the elite, and although this was my first flight, believe me, Jack, and don't look back, I was clean as the Board of Health. 3 players true, we sported ribbons of blue. We painted a picture of wealth. Now, a captain named Abel, he serviced our table. He served rare old wine, vintage 1879 from the cathedrals of Spain, as refreshing as cocaine. We had escargot and truffles. We had duck à l'orange flambé. We had hummingbird hearts and other rare parts, mashed potatoes a la king, green mint-flavored ice cream, and it was covered with Moss's Boss. Then we sat around smoking Turkish cigarettes and talked. Feeling quite willing and able, I leaned across the table and I said, baby, I believe deep spiritual needs drew us together. We blend like the fragrance of flowers blossoming in the gardens of the motherland, and like wind swept from the sea, my spirit has sought you out. And the only thing I want you to do is to bathe me in the naked warmth of your knowing smile, sharing the sounds of the song in my soul, brown sugar soul sister, my warm dark room of Africa. I love you, baby. And that, my son, is rap. W-R-A-P. Now, I know that Karla had some experiences when she was in Africa, but they were kind of different than the experiences that I had in Africa, or the experiences actually that I even had in the Caribbean. But when I got to Africa, everybody thought I was from there. Nobody thought I was from someplace else. I looked like everybody else. I'm walking down the street, everybody saying, yo, what's up, And the only way they knew that I wasn't from Africa is when I spoke. And when I spoke, they said, welcome, my brother. We're so glad to have you here. And I was like, man, this is really cool. So I'm in the airport in Ethiopia. And I didn't know I looked Ethiopian, but I found out in Ethiopia that everybody thinks I'm Ethiopian. So I'm in the airport, and the foreigners have to go on this last long line, and you have to have all your luggage x-rayed once again. So I'm like, man, I'm at the end of the line. And the woman says, Baba, come. She's talking to me. She said, you don't have to go through that line. I said, thank you very much. And I went on about my business. And that's basically the way I have been treated in Africa. I mean, I walked up, because, I'm a little dude. And so, in Ethiopia, there was this dude that was smaller than me. And he was standing outside of the bank. And he had this big old gun. And I said, man, that gun looks like it's bigger than you. We had a real good laugh. Now, you can't do that in America. I think that gun looks bigger than you. Bam, 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 bam. So I'm like, woo. So for me, Africa is like a totally different experience. In Zanzibar, I'm going through customs with a friend of mine, and the customs officer says to the friend of mine, is that your father? And he said, yes. I mean, yeah, why not, And he said, okay, well, you guys just go through, just go through. And I'm like, I like being places where people like me being there. Where I look like everybody else. I walk down the street in America, and I'm a black dude. I walk down the street in Africa, and I'm a human being. And I like that much better. Her essential nature emanates vibrations of eternity and everlastingness, clothed in strength, dignity, and perfumed with laughter. Her spirit was sent to ignite the world. She has the power to make things happen. I said, she has the power to make things happen. She is the problem solver who walks without fear amongst the dreamers and believers, and as she walks, distributing trinkets of joy, she sensually dances, she undulates, she sings sacred spiritual songs and ululates. I have never seen anybody like her before. I have never seen anybody like her before. She is Oshumari, divinity of movement and activity. She walks without fear and dreams amongst the believers. She dances with Shango and Dambala. I said, she dances with Shango, Dambala, and she is Ochumari, the divinity of movement and activity. The first time I saw her, I recognized her from my dreams awakened in reality. See, the smile on her face means she appreciates who she is, what she has, and that which the ancestors have blessed her with. She owns the spirit, warrior deity, divinity of the wind, sudden change, and hurricanes. She flows like the goddess of rivers, femininity, and art, and the light of her radiance reflects upon the waters of my masculinity. I flow into her divinity as my dream awakened to reality, and our ancestors embraced the ecstasy. I became a willing participant in this captivation of spiritual rhythms, dancing and celebration around my heart. I am a willing occupant of her magical universe. Thank you.
Karma wakes up at 3 a.m. thinking to herself, it's a good day to enter nirvana. Feeling the morning urge to pee before walking and meditation, she hurries past the abbot whose rounded shoulders silently hold out Karma's burgundy day robe. Karma looks in the mirror above the bathroom sink, thinking to herself, today may just be the last day anyone sees me alive. It's a good day to enter nirvana. She's not doing a very good job of shaking this thought off when she comes out of the bathroom muttering, yeah, so what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do this? Karma's brand, ever since she was a baby, was saying how that's how I would do it. In fact, that was one of the indications that she was the 15th, because the 14th Dalai Lama's last words to the council were, this is how I would do it, without any explanation. But up till now, she didn't really know what or how she would do it. Really, Karma? How about you not worry about that right now? How about you just stay in the present? The abbot, who just brought in Karma's robe, asked rhetorically as Karma flushes the toilet. Focus on the morning routine, including your yoga, walking meditation, sitting meditation, eat breakfast, then interview with Trevor Noah of The Daily Show. The abbess is one of the few people who still calls Karma by her government name. Everyone else in the temple calls her by her Buddhist name, Chemalap. Well, Lobcher, it's just that I had that dream again. It's so like deja vu. Now I wonder, am I a man who dreams of being a butterfly? Or am I the butterfly that am dreaming that I am the man? Karma questions as she takes her maroon robe from the abbess. The abbess sighs and shakes her head as she held out the top piece to Karma's Jen, her day-to-day robe, so that Karma could just slip into it. I guess llamas just gotta say something smart alecally when they're youngsters. The nappy-headed, dreaded, dark chocolate moon face with button nose and slanty eyes dresses and contemplates her life. Found at 4 years old and proclaimed the 15th Dalai Lama when she was 5 years old, lived in the U.S. until she was 10, then moved from school to school in nunneries and monasteries through the Himalayas, Nepal, and northern India. She went to all the best shredders, trained as a lama until now, at 15 years old, always avoiding being netted by the Chinese. Today, she is going to have her head shaved again, take her vows, and be throned as the 15th Dalai Lama. Although not born here, she had a deep connection with this land. As the 5th Dalai Lama, she founded the Tuang Monastery just a few kilometers away. In her 6th lifetime, she had been born in this town, so she felt it most appropriate that she would be enthroned in her 15th incarnation here. But she is distracted by the perpetual fear of capture and that her enthronement ceremony might be raided by the Chinese. All the headlines: Chinese government denies legitimacy of 15th Dalai Lama. China says 15th Dalai Lama is an imposter. List of crimes committed by imposter Dalai Lama. A lot can change in a lifetime, and so it has. After my death as 14th, it took another 7 or 8 years for me to be rebirthed. After all, her enthronement is taking place at the Kwangong Ani Gompa, the largest Tibetan Buddhist nunnery, 5 kilometers from Tuang, on the disputed border between China and India. Chinese spies have been tracking her all her life, trying to abduct her since anyone knew who she was. She was the only person standing in the way of China's claim of being the largest Buddhist country. Her preparation had been on multiple levels. Streetwise, she'd always been in a place when she always went to a place, she was always observant of the escape routes, using soft power. Ceremony-wise, paying attention to the gravitas and pageantry of the occasion. But was she prepared spirit-wise? On her way to the courtyard to join the other walking nuns, Karma steadied her breath and thinks, I love that spiritual connection that I have with the audience when I give a sermon. There's that moment that I am them and they are me. While meditation is to empty one's mind in order to attain enlightenment, today I must focus my mind to attain enlightenment. While doing walking meditation, Karma mulls over the teaching she was about to give that afternoon. As she breathes in, she inhales earthiness, the thick aroma of sandalwood, the yak butter being churned for late morning tea. As she exhales, she smiles. Karma pushes her breath down into her dan, out of her belly button, and allowed it to drift out of her skin, seep out of her robes, above her small walking body. Her breath hears her sandals as she steps on the earth in the courtyard and wanders upwards above the white walls of the temple complex embedded in the side of the mountain. As Karma inhales, she breathes in the scent of blue pine, cypress, and poplar and magnolia. As she exhales, she smiles. After the procession and in the crowning, 15th stood in front of the chanting crowd below. But something doesn't feel right. Karma's eyes scan, and she sees a ribbon of green army fatigue and hears Chinese shouts. Just as Karma is about to give her speech, the Chinese military police bust in. Without explaining to the crowd, she runs out of the temple, through the earthen courtyard, and out to the school. She ducks into the school, dresses up like a schoolgirl before she is almost cornered and captured. Chinese military burst into the classroom, screaming, "Which one of you is Dalai Lama?" All the children look the same, so they cannot tell them apart. 15th sat in the moment, feeling the fabric of her being fray. One of the girls across the room yells, "I am Dalai Lama!" And just as the police approach her to arrest her, another girl stands up yelling, "I am Dalai Lama!" Then one by one, the classroom erupts as all the students chime in, loudly pronouncing, "I am Dalai Lama!" Outside the classroom, throughout the school, throughout the town, there are echoes through the hills and the mountains of the Himalayas. "I am Dalai Lama! I am Dalai Lama!" The Chinese military police are baffled. They don't know what to do. Who should they arrest? Finally, an emboldened Karma yells out, "I am Dalai Lama, and when you fucks with me, then you fucks with the most peaceful."
Your writings are extensive. Why not a book? Asked the great writer. As you visited the soul stanzas and over their walls, your sentiments built spiraling architectures of words. I have been busy mixing blood with blood, replied the old friends. As your paper sheet was dry and in need of ink to come alive, mine was wet with living life running over it. Like the Gange River rolls over death for my thoughts, giving rise to flesh and breath. I have had children whom everybody longed for, but nobody wanted, and the children of those who feared they were not up to it. May your books have their faces, as it is in their bond where your ink becomes blood, and their art finds a pulpit. That